quick thank you to our sponsors for making this podcast possible. They keep this show free to listen to. Hey there, Peace and Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true. Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace and Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace and Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions. Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. I want you to think about the last time your child was truly frustrated. Maybe they couldn't figure something out. Maybe a friend left them out. Maybe something just went wrong in their life. Now think of that moment. Now, what did you do in that moment? Or what did you want to do in that moment? What was your first instinct? Was it to step in, smooth it over, take the discomfort away? For years, that was my reflex, to jump in, to fix it, to protect them from the hard thing. And I thought it was love. Today, we're going to talk about why that reflex, that beautiful, loving, protective instinct, may be the exact thing that's getting in the way of raising a child who can actually handle life's problems. This is not about being a harder parent. It's not about stepping away and leaving your kid to fend for themselves. It's about something in the middle that I call connected courage. And I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to see your child and yourself very differently. First, listen to this and let it sit with you for a moment. Every time you step in to fix or smooth it over or take the discomfort away, you're teaching your child that they can't handle it. And they're starting to believe it. As always, let me tell you a bit about my case. A lot of what I discuss here with you comes from my own experience as a parent. My oldest daughter started college a year and a half ago, and I told myself I was ready. I mean, I'm a parenting coach, right? I should be ready. I've spent years helping families navigate exactly this kind of transition. I should have it all together. Well, I didn't have it all together. The week before she left, I found myself reorganizing her room, repacking her bags, sending her articles she didn't ask for, texting her things she already knew. And I remember standing in her doorway one night looking at all the things she had already decided she didn't need to take with her. And I realized something. She was ready. She had been ready for a long time. I was the one who wasn't ready to let go. And what hit me hardest wasn't the saying goodbye. It was the recognition that for years, I had been fighting this exact battle inside myself, the pull to manage, the pull to control outcomes, the pull to step in just one more time so things didn't go sideways. And every time I gave into that pull, I was telling her, without saying a single word, that I wasn't sure she could handle things without me. And I had been for years since she was a child. Sometimes I was better at managing it. Sometimes I went back to doing all the things I said I wasn't going to do. Now, here's the part I really want you to hear. Watching her walk toward her own life, fully capable, genuinely confident, comfortable in who she is, I felt two things at the exact same time. I felt really proud. And I felt the weight of every moment I almost took from her by protecting her too much. Every time I jumped in too fast, every time I smoothed something over that she needed to feel, every time I made things easier, I should have let them be hard. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's not. When she had to do homework, when she had to follow it with a friend, when she was learning how to do things on her own at home. That's what today is about. Not just for your child, but for you. Because the parents I work with, the ones who do this work, they don't just raise more resilient kids. They find something for themselves too. They find out what it feels like to actually trust the child they've been raising all along. Let me name a belief I want to challenge today, because it's one of the most loving it's one of the things that parents hold dear to them. And it sounds completely reasonable. It sounds like this. My job is to make sure my child never suffers. If I can prevent their pain, I should. Does this feel familiar? because this comes from love and it sounds like protection. It sounds like good parenting. But here's what that belief is actually producing. And I want to say this without any judgment because I've lived it too. When we make it our mission to prevent all pain, we accidentally teach our children that pain is something they cannot survive. They feel like it's something they should run from. So every time we come in and swoop in and we send the message, and the message isn't I love you, the message, the one that lands in their nervous system is I don't think you can handle this. And it's unknowingly that we're doing this. They start to agree. They stop trying before they've even begun. They look to us for every answer. I had a friend who sent their kid to NYU, and the first day she said, Mom, I can't do this. How am I going to know when I should do my homework? You're not even going to tell me. Because she had never done it on her own. And what we think we're building this safe, secure child has actually been building a fragile one indirectly. This is not a failure of your love. It's just a misdirection. So let's redirect it. Okay, here's the poll for you. Be honest with yourself right now. When your child faces a problem, your first instinct is to A, jump in and fix it immediately. B, wait and watch, but it's really hard. C, offer help only if they ask. Or D, it depends on the day. A, jump in. B, wait and watch. C, offer help. Or D, it depends on the day. I think I'm D and A. 70% of US parents report they intervene to prevent their child from experiencing failure, frustration, or conflict. 75%. So here's what overprotection actually looks like. Let's get really specific because overprotection doesn't always look dramatic. It doesn't look like locking your kid in a padded room. It looks like love. It looks like a good, involved, caring parent. And that's exactly what makes it so easy to miss. Let me walk you through the most common ways it shows up, and I want you to notice. No judgment, just notice. You call the teacher before you've even asked your child what happened with the bad grade. You help them redo their homework or their project because it's not quite right. You step in every sibling fight to pick the winner instead of teaching them how to discuss the hard stuff. You text the teenager 6 times to check if they're okay at the party. And you rush in with a snack, a solution, a here, let me help before the frustration has even peaked. You get involved in your child's friendship drama. I see a lot of this. Instead of letting your kids try to figure it out with support, that's the main key. Or you lie awake at 2 a.m. worrying about things your child hasn't even noticed. Most of us are doing at least 2 or 3 of these in any given week. And not because something's wrong with us, but because nobody ever told us that love in this case needs to look different. So what does chronic overprotection actually produce in a child? Small setbacks start to feel catastrophic because the child has never been allowed to experience a setback and actually survive it. It produces anxiety and avoidance. When difficult things are removed for you, your nervous system starts to register difficulty is a threat. So you stop trying anything that might be wrong or go wrong or be hard. It produces poor self-confidence. And I'm not talking about the surface kind where they seem fine. I'm talking about the deep kind where a child actually trusts their own judgment and their own ability to figure things out. That's the piece that goes missing because they don't get the practice. So it produces helplessness. They don't try. They wait. They look for you for the answers before they've even tried. And here's the one thing I think is the hardest to hear because I know how much you love your kids. Chronic overprotection damages your relationship with them because when a child can't feel their own competence inside of them, when they always need you to fix things, they start to feel small around you, like they aren't capable. And that smallness doesn't stay quiet. It turns into resentment, but maybe it's subconscious. It becomes an eye roll at 14. It becomes the door closed in your face at 15. It becomes the teenager who stops coming to you with the problems because the pattern has always been that you take over instead of listen and support. I know we all think we're building security, but what they experienced was doubt. And I say this not to scare you, but because this is reversible, we can fix it. And the fact that you're here listening today already means something is shifting. So let me give you the brain science version of this, because once you understand it, you can't unsee it, and it makes everything that comes next feel a lot more grounded. The brain builds resilience the exact same way muscles build strength, through resistance. Neuroscientists call it tolerable stress, the kind of difficulty that challenges a child but doesn't overwhelm them. Every single time a child navigates a hard moment and comes out the other side with support, not rescue, their prefrontal cortex, the reasoning center, grows. That's the part of the brain that makes decisions, emotional regulation, and coping. Every time we rescue, we short circuit that growth. Now, I want to be really clear about something, because I know how this can sound. I'm not talking about letting your kids white knuckle it all alone. I'm not talking about being cold or unavailable. What I'm talking about is a concept called guided autonomy. It is a middle ground between abandoning and overhelping. And it sounds like this: I'm here with you, but I'm not doing it for you. I trust your brain to figure this out. I will be right here while you try. I will help you pick up the pieces if it doesn't work, and I'll cheer you on when it does. That's it. It's simple. And that's the entire shift. Children who experience this kind of support, independence, consistently show significantly higher self-confidence, problem-solving skills, and better emotional regulation than children who are over-directed. This is not just a feeling. This is what research shows us. And this is the work that I've watched change families over and over and over again for years. It helps children trust themselves. Children who have regular opportunities for unsupervised child-led play show significantly higher scores in emotional regulation and problem solving at age 10. That's from Harvard. Children raised with guided autonomy, supported but not directed, show 40% higher self-confidence scores than those who are over-directed. These are the 5 shifts I want you to understand, and they're practical. They are specific, and every single one of them is something you can begin this week. These shifts are all rooted in empathy instead of fixing. I don't want you to try all 5 at once. I want you to pick one and commit to it. One shift done consistently will change your family. Shift 1, stop fixing and start witnessing. Be present with your child's discomfort without taking it away. We do not want to make it better. We want to witness it. Shift 2, stop telling, start asking. Replace your answers and your fixes with questions that activate their thinking, probing questions. Shift 3, stop scheduling. Start trusting boredom. Unstructured time is not a problem to solve. It's the doorway to independence. Shift 4, stop monitoring. Start reflecting. Let them have the experience first. Talk about it after. Shift 5, stop spiraling when you slip up. Start repairing, because you will slip up. You're going to tell them what to do. You're going to give them your opinion. You're going to give them all the advice, but you can always repair. Let's go through each one of these. Okay, witnessing means I see you, I feel this with you, and I'm not going to take it away. And another big piece of it is, and this is the hardest part, I'm not going to take it on, because when we take it on, we go to fear and we go to anxiety. This is an act of profound respect for your child. And I know how hard it is, because when your child is in pain, your nervous system responds as if you were in pain. You feel it with them. And the fastest way to stop feeling it is to fix it. But here's what I need you to understand. Most of the time, the urgency to rescue is ours, not theirs. We step in to regulate ourselves, not them. And when we do, we rob them of a chance to regulate themselves. So what does witnessing actually look like? For the 2-year-old who can't fit the puzzle pieces, you resist the urge to take over, and instead you sit with them and say, oh, this is so frustrating. Can you try it a different way? For the 7-year-old who comes home saying nobody likes her at school, that one's so hard, you don't immediately call the teacher, text the other mom, or tell them how amazing they are. Instead, you say, that sounds painful. Tell me more about what happened at school. For a 12-year-old who fails a test, you don't email the teacher right away. You said, what do you think happened? How did it go? For the 16-year-old who's going through a friend breakup, you don't call the friend's mother. You sit on the edge of the bed and you say, I'm right here. What do you need? The scripts are simple. It's, I can see you're really struggling right now. That makes sense. I'm here and I know you can figure this out. That's it. That's the whole thing. It is the hardest and the most important sentence you will ever say to your child. Dr. Gabor-Mate says that it isn't the abuse that actually hurts the child. the most. It's being alone in the abuse that hurts the child the most. When we can be with our children in their pain, that creates connection, that creates relationship. Every time you tell your child what to think, what to feel, or what to do, you borrow a moment that was meant to belong to them. And I know we do this with the best intentions. We have experience. We can see the solution. Why wouldn't we share it? We know more. But here's what happens over time when we tell instead of ask. Our children stop thinking for themselves. They use us. They stop bringing us problems because they already know what we're going to say. And the problem with the advice we give is it's an adult advice that maybe a child cannot take and will not follow. And so then they even feel like a failure. They stop trusting their own instincts because ours have always overridden theirs. Asking is different. Asking sends the message. Your thinking matters. Your perspective is worth exploring. You're capable of generating solutions. It builds muscle. Telling builds dependency. One question a day, asked genuinely, will change the dynamic in your family over time. Not because it's magic, but because it's consistent. And in the Peace and Parenting community, we use questions instead of telling. We ask probing questions. So here is what it sounds like in practice. Instead of, here's what you should do, you say, what do you think you should do? Instead of, apologize to your sister, you say, what do you think your sister needs from you right now? Instead of just ignore the bully, you say, what do you think you could try? You're not abandoning them. You are activating them. This is not about hands-off parenting. This is about supportive parenting. It's strategic. It's not just coming in and fixing. That's the easy thing to do. The difference is how your child shows up in their confidence, their problem solving, their sense of themselves will change. Okay, one more gut check. This week, commit to one genuine question per day instead of one direction. Try it at dinner tonight. What was the hardest part of your day? And then just listen. Don't fix it. Don't give advice because you're going to want to. The kid's going to say, so-and-so was mean to me on the playground. And you're going to want to say, oh my gosh, I'm going to call the mom, or they shouldn't do that. You should tell them not to be nice to you. Instead, listen. Oh, they did. That sounds hard. What else happened? Oh, well, what did you say? Interesting. I hear you. Be there in support. Okay, boredom. Boredom's not a problem you need to solve for your child. I know it feels like one, especially when they're standing in front of you saying, I'm bored, like it's an emergency. But boredom is a doorway. When children are bored, something remarkable happens in their brains. They're forced to create. They have to generate. They have to find their own purpose in the moment. And that is a skill. And if we jump in and solve that for them, we are not helping them develop that skill. The research on free, unstructured play is unambiguous. Kids who have regular time that isn't directed by adults show significantly higher scores in emotional regulation, creativity, self-motivation. The problem is that we have nearly eliminated that time from childhood. So here's the shift. The next time your child says, I'm bored, your response is, I know. Your brain's going to figure it out. And then you walk away. I know it's uncomfortable, but I promise. It usually starts with complaining and ends with something you didn't expect. And while they complain, you can say, I know it's really hard to find something to do. I understand. And I know you can do this. This is your child discovering who they are without you directing them or anybody entertaining them. Number 4, monitoring is 8 check-ins before your child has even had a chance to feel anything. Reflecting is different. Reflecting means letting them have the experience and then making space to talk about it after. When you monitor the messages, I don't trust you to handle this. When you reflect the messages, you went through something and I want to understand it with you. The after school shift is one of the most immediate things you can try. Instead of peppering them with questions, the moment they get in the car or walk in the door, you say, hey, good to see you. And then you let them come to you. You don't ask them 7,000 questions about what they did for the day. You'll be stunned by what starts to come out. A little bit of data, only 6% of children's time is spent in unstructured outdoor play. That's so sad. That's down from 30+% a generation ago. Everything we've talked about so far, you're going to mess up, you're going to rescue sometimes. You will still fix it when you said you wouldn't. You will have a hard day, your child will be struggling, and your instincts will take over before your intention has a chance to catch up. And this is going to happen. It just is. And the moments it does, there's only one thing to do. That is not to spiral into guilt. That is not to over-explain yourself. That is not to pretend it didn't happen. The only thing to do is to repair. Repair is one of the most powerful resilience tools. And in one of my calls this week, we talked about, one of the moms said, is repair really that important? And I just want you to think about it. Did your parents repair with you? And if they ever did, what did it feel like? And if they ever didn't, what would it have felt like if they did? And what would it have felt like if your parents repaired every single time they messed up? Can you imagine? You wouldn't have had to think it was your fault. You wouldn't have had to think that all of the wrongdoings were just somehow a mishap that your parents had no responsibility around. So next time you make a mistake, name it honestly and move forward. They learn exactly what you want them to do with their own mistakes. They will be able to move forward. Repair sounds like, hey, I want to be honest with you. I jumped in earlier and I shouldn't have. You were figuring it out and I got in the way. I'm going to work on that. I trust you more than that moment showed. That's it. No lengthy explanation, no overhaul, just honest, clean repair. I also want to say this because I think it matters. Be gentle with yourself in this process. You're not undoing everything by slipping back into your own patterns. You're practicing. And every single parent who has done this work, including me and all the people that I know, has to practice. Progress is not linear. What matters is that you keep showing up and you keep preparing and you keep doing the work. Great, you guys. Repair is important. Many of you are working on it. I am too. This week, try one repair conversation. Keep it simple. I jumped in when I should have let you handle it. I'm working on trusting you more. That's it. It doesn't have to be huge. Okay, now that we've learned all the shifts and how they work, here's a reference card so you can remember them more easily. The shift is from stop fixing to not jumping in immediately to trying, I'm right here. Stop telling, don't give the answers in the directions, and just say, what do you think? Trust boredom instead of filling in every minute. Say, your brain will figure it out. Stop monitoring, check in before they've felt anything. Say, I'm right here when you're ready. And repair. I got in the way. I trust you.
Thank you for joining me on the Peace in Parenting podcast. I'll see you next time. Hey there, Peace in Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true. Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace in Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace in Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions.